a happy buck because my sister turned 70. God, she's an old broad.
You know, this is recorded, right? That is there for perpetuity now.
I'll send it to her.
That's your little sister, right, John?
Yes, actually.
Anybody else?
I have one.
Go ahead, John.
Well, barring something total. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
We're good.
Oh,
We can hear
okay.
you.
I thought I was muted, but okay. Barring something odd happening, and it is 2020, I will have my first basketball broadcast next Wednesday afternoon as the SMU Mustangs women's basketball team at the University of Texas. And I will be broadcasting from a booth in the bowels of a football stadium.
That'll be fun.
So should be fun.
You'll have to share. You'll have to share the link with us so we can listen to you.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Please do. All right. Anybody else? I will ask you guys to please send some good vibes to Deb Teplitz, who's not feeling quite as great as she probably wish she was right now.
Oh dear.
Just so you know, just probably appreciate a note. Just tell her you're thinking about her. And then Uta is over in Germany this week. So, all righty then. I lost you. Did we lose? Did I lose Ron Mead?
I'm here.
There you are. Sorry.
You may have lost me, but I
I
kept
just can't-
myself. Yeah.
I can't
You're
keep track
fine.
of where everybody is. Everybody moves. Every time somebody pops in, everybody moves. So, Mr. Mead, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and play your video and then
Very good.
follow up.
Go ahead, please. Thank you.
No problem. There you go. Let
And
me
now
know.
our featured presentation.
Are we all muted?
Not yet, but you will be. Thank you, Mickey. Let me know if you guys can't hear. Actually, let me reshare. I shouldn't be in charge of this. Let me make sure that I actually share with sound. There we go. All right, here you go.
A single act of good can go a long way. It can cross oceans, cure disease, and create equality. As members of Rotary, we are people of action, and our actions have the power to speak loud and clear. We're changing lives through our vision and unwavering commitment to fighting disease and bringing hope to those who need it most. Rotary's progress in polio eradication is an enduring example of our success. Building a global infrastructure and inspiring action. Leveraging that success and the power of partnership, our global grants provide access to equipment, training, education, and vaccinations to ensure safe births and keeping kids healthy. Rotary Club members unite to create a world where our disease prevention and treatment programs aren't just changing lives, they're saving lives, providing surgeries and health assessments through practical and compassionate treatment. We're educating families and mobilizing communities to treat illnesses and prevent disease, engaging local health workers, and working with partners with expertise in cancer, heart disease, and diabetes care. Your contribution to the Rotary Foundation keeps families connected to a world of good. Every gift is an action that speaks volumes across clinics, communities, and continents. Learn how you can support the cause that means the most to you.
So just representing the Rotary Foundation of our club, I just wanted to have Amanda show that short video and just give a little bit of a plea. With Thanksgiving and the end of the year coming up, it's time when we all start thinking about our contributions for the year. And hopefully the Rotary Foundation will be in your thoughts there. There's several ways of doing it. You all know this, I'm sure, but consider donating appreciated stock. Since the stock market's up, you get tax advantage, and it's a real comfortable way of doing it. And I think many of us, unfortunately, are at the point where we have our RMDs to worry about, and donating out of that, of course, is a real beneficial way of doing for everybody. I know that a lot of the people in this club are already Paul Harris Fellows, or even multiple Paul Harris Fellows, but this is a good time to go ahead and start your next one, or even complete your next one. And don't forget the matching program that I sent the email out on a little bit ago. So for $500, you net yourself a Paul Harris Fellow for this year. So keep that in mind. So thank you in advance for your donation, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mead. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight.
No problem.
All right, all. I'm going to turn the floor over to Keith Lindgren, Keith is our membership chair this year, and he's going to give us a presentation on the current status of our club and where we're headed.
All right, thank you, Amanda. I'm going to start to share my screen if this works. Okay, good evening, Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians. Tonight we want to talk a little bit about membership, and I'm going to ask you to do some participation in it. Membership in Rotary, it's right now we're a little over 1.2 million Rotarians worldwide, in over 200 countries and little over 35,000 clubs. So it's a fairly good sized organization. Our club, the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians, we have 25 active members, or 24 active members, and 25 associate members. I'd like to now take a few minutes, break out into groups, and I'm going to ask Amanda to help me with that. And I want you to look at these 3 questions and answer these 3 questions in the group. I don't expect to get a consensus because we're such a wide variety of folks, but I would like to get some of the reasons to these questions. So Amanda, can you help me by breaking out the groups?
Sure thing. I'm thinking maybe just 6 groups of 3. All right, guys. So don't forget to click on the thing that pops up. I'm about to assign rooms. Click accept, I think what comes up, and we'll see you guys shortly. Jim, are you stuck?
I thought I left the breakout room. Did I forget to leave it?
Back to the main session.
I thought I moved back to the main session, but for some, there I am.
That's where we are. Maybe our breakout room is the main session for a few minutes.
There we go.
We're popping back.
Yep.
Hey, Tom.
Hey there, Jerry.
Good to see you there, pal.
Well, it's going to be, yeah, it's nice to see you without a mask on.
Well, we're back.
All right, are we all back now?
We're back. Did that
We're
work?
back.
Is that good for everyone?
So,
We cut Ron no, where'd he go? Man, I lose people. I can't keep track of them.
I mean, I can't see whether we've got everybody or not, but I would guess we are.
We're back, but we lost somebody. We only got
We lost
17
where we
people
gained.
now.
Horrors. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, what were some of the reasons given in your group? What does Rotary mean to you? Why did I join Rotary? Why do I stay in Rotary?
Well, the why we stay in Rotary and the all PDG group that you threw us into, we all figured out that we have a brand and branded on our butts, and so we can't go anyplace else.
I think Rob should have been in your group because he was just saying that part of the reason he stays is because he's got that mantra or that 40 years of perfect attendance that he's got to keep up.
Oh, I joined because Jerry made me.
I think you and me both, Mickey.
He needed a quota. I'm pretty sure.
Quota?
I needed some females in this group.
Our group came up with service projects and fellowship.
Okay. How about
We
why
had
you
fellowship,
joined Rotary?
international exposure to what did we say? Fellowship and international exposure to community service, and motorcycling was a bonus.
All right.
God, we didn't even talk about motorcycles. We screwed up, guys.
We were the same. We
Yeah,
didn't talk
and we
about
also
motorcycles.
said that the ride, we joined because we also enjoyed the prospects of having some more rides with some folks across the country and internationally, even though COVID kind of messed us up a little bit on that.
We meant to say that.
In my group, we pretty much agreed that we joined Rotary because we were asked to. Somebody had taken the time to invite us to come to Rotary.
Yep, that's true.
How about staying in Rotary? Why do you stay in Rotary?
Well, in our group, it was basically agreed that it's become a lifestyle for us guys. And then on top of that, we continue to stay because we feel we make an impact, a difference in the world. Constantly making an impact.
Anybody else?
Rory, did you have something?
I was just saying that I wasn't asked. I was just told to be there. You had to know Charlie Goings. I was working my butt off at the end of the driveway, shoveling gravel, and this old guy pulled up in the car, said, "Hi, my name's Charlie. I belong with Rotary. We meet at 7, City Hall. Be there. See you Wednesday."
I sought it out.
That's quite an approach. Anybody else?
I
My boss has been a Rotarian, and I knew that was a great way to meet people and to extend one's tentacles into the community. So I sought it out and been there ever since. 30-some years.
And that's pretty much what our groups, we stay in Rotary because of the camaraderie and the good that Rotary does, and we enjoy it.
I like Dave's answer. I'm calling you out, Dave Knight. But he said he's looking toward retirement soon here, and he was looking beyond having a family work community to be a part of, to have something else to be a part of in that next step for him.
Which Dave? We got
Dave
3 of them.
Knight, David Knight. I don't know where he is for you guys. He's over there for me. I don't know.
I'm on my cell phone, so I only get one picture at a time.
When we look at Rotary, we need to look at it from the standpoint that we are all should be part of the recruitment and retention of the Rotary clubs. We should all be looking for new members, but also not as just looking at new members, we need to be looking at how we're going to keep the people that we've got. You know, everyone could consider themselves part of the membership team. We all have a passion for serving. At least that's my belief. I believe that we wouldn't be Rotarians if we didn't have that passion. And service
Right.
above self means serving our current members as well. We can't just look to recruit new. We need to make sure we retain those that are on board. Rotary is a very strong believer in diversity. And we believe in diversity because Rotary at its best unites the world, and therefore it's got to reflect every part of humanity. Rotarians welcome people of all backgrounds, experience levels, and identities, regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, color, abilities, their socioeconomic status, culture, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And to me, that is critical because members of diverse clubs gain a greater awareness and understanding of people who are different from them. We need to make sure that this broadens their perspective as well as their personal professional work networks, as well as our own. You know, what traits do you think make a good Rotarian?
Crazy,
I'm sorry?
punishment,
Okay.
Spiky
Anybody else?
hair.
Conscientiousness.
Okay.
Willingness
good.
to serve.
Integrity.
What was that, Chris?
Integrity.
Integrity, all right.
service.
Willingness to serve.
Willingness to serve.
I mean, I think time to serve too. Let's face it, if you're
Time, yeah.
those folks that just doesn't have the support of your employer or the time to do it, it's difficult to participate.
And that's a very big thing. It most certainly is.
Humanity.
I'm sorry?
Humanity.
Humanity, okay. Now, are those some of the things, the types that we're looking at here when we look at that second paragraph and we talk about the different diversified members? Are there any things that missing in this club, or should we be concentrating on any one area?
Further diversity.
Yeah.
Well, we should, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, we don't have a lot of color in our group.
I'm sorry?
We don't have a lot of color in our group.
No, we don't. And that is one thing that we should probably strive to do. Rotary changes lives, both the people we strive to assist and us as Rotarians ourselves. This club is uniquely positioned to draw from multiple communities. Mirroring the diversity of the entire North America could be our goal. Our club is from everywhere and not bound by the confines of a demographics of one location. And I think that's important. We are a diverse club. We can be better at that diversity, but we've got an interest that we can look at in how do we get other members to get involved in the club.
When you say we're diverse, Keith, what do you mean?
Well, I mean that look at the different makeups of what we've got right now. Even though somebody mentioned that we don't have a lot of color in the club right now, but we do have a complete, I mean, we've got people from Guatemala, we've got people from, South America, Central America. We've got them from all over the United States and Canada. So there's a great diversity there just from the standpoint of where you were brought up and how you are brought up. And I think we as a club have, we're unique. in an e-club versus the traditional brick and mortar clubs. Paul Harris said it, our founder, it's a changing world, and we must be willing to change with it. Ours is a unique club. We're one of the pioneers. We are changing the way Rotary views clubs and club members. I still get comments from some of my brick and mortar club members about being an associate member. They don't understand that. I don't think Rotary International understands that, but we're going to change that. I believe that's the wave of the future. And that's something that we as a club can look to and encourage. Successful organizations constantly change. They do so to become more efficient, meet new goals, or improve their members' experiences. You know, when I first joined Rotary in 1978, it was an all men's organization. We invited only the top individuals in each classification. You could be, if there was somebody in your field and you wanted to join Rotary, they were already a member of the club, you could become a member, but you were considered an additional active. You were not considered that classification, and classifications were extremely important. Every Rotarian had to have a classification to become a member of a club. That is changing. And I think our club is one of the prime examples of how that's changing. We need to embrace change to leverage Rotary's power. And I think we can all agree Rotary has great power in the world. We need to utilize that. Let's talk a little bit about recruitment. In one or two words, what best describes what Rotary means to you? Anybody?
Community service.
Was community that
Community service?
Service above self.
I'm sorry?
Service above self.
Service above self, all right. Anybody else?
International service.
Okay, international service.
Making a difference.
Definitely making a difference. Now, how do you impart that to new and prospective members? When we're looking at somebody to join our club, how do we put those kind of words into meaning that these new or prospective members will understand?
Well, I can tell you when I engage in conversations about this, I first ask a lot of questions of the individual I'm talking to find out where their interests and where their hot buttons are so that I can then tune the conversation to be high in their mind. So I don't spiel out anything about Rotary until I learn a little bit about the individual.
About them themselves, okay.
Yep.
That's very good, Chris. We need to focus on offering a club experience that is important to prospective members. All right. We need to invite prospective members to go on a scheduled ride or participate in a scheduled event. We need to engage these new members. We need to get them recruited into Rotary, and we need to get them recruiting new members into Rotary. But in our COVID situation right now, how do we engage members when we can't invite them out to events?
We got to have some events first.
I mean, with motorcycling, we could say it's a, we can keep our social distancing because we're on our bikes. But when you gather at the end of the day or at the end of a ride, there is a chance to get back into that gathering group wise. How do you do that? And how do you get members to see what good we can do when you can't invite them.
Well, we're still doing, I mean, even the local Rotary, Jeff's handing out turkeys on Saturday, and they're figuring out a way to do it social distancing and, reaching out to the community. And, we just got to figure out what's our, turkey handout and what does that look like, in social distancing. So what
very good.
Ride look like social distancing? What's our online event look like? Social obviously social distance. We just got to figure out what does that look like.
I think we also need to figure out what our community is. How do we define what our community is as a
what will work where we are at that point in time or that location. We also need to look at retention. We need to make sure that we're keeping the members that we have in the club. What's important to members, how to use that interest to participate in the fellowship that we all enjoy. Because the one thing that we need to know is a net zero membership is an actual loss for the club. We need to strive to keep members active and enjoying their membership.
Good programs, I think, is the foundation of any Rotary club. But for us, I think that when we really are going to be able to keep a member is when we can get back on the road with our fellow Rotarians and do some trips somewhere. So until
I don't think there's any doubt that we're all looking forward to that time when we can start to go out and do some of these rides that we've had to cancel recently, just so we can get some of that camaraderie and that fellowship going.
I mean, maybe they're mini trips. Maybe they're just regional mini trips or something instead of international big trips.
Oh, sure. It doesn't have to. I mean, you can have one on the East Coast. You can have one on the West Coast. You can have some in between that not necessarily everybody's going to be able to go to, but it is going to be something that people in that area can go to, right? The club members themselves can enjoy, and it's a good tool to get new members.
Right.
A good recruiting tool.
I also think, Keith, we talked a little bit before we started this afternoon about what I'm seeing at work is just people are kind of saturated. You had it in their minds that this wasn't going to last this long, and now they're just having a hard time dealing with it. So I think making sure that everybody in this club sees everybody else in this club as a venue for having a conversation, an open conversation about that is important. Beyond getting on bikes together, which 100%, I'm looking forward to it. Don't say anything about my bike. But beyond that, to be able to at any point in time, I know that I could send Jerry a message that said I need to talk. Any point in time, I know that he would answer. And so to make sure that we establish that comfort and that the ability for all of us to be vulnerable with one another, I think is probably one of the things that we could come out of this situation where we can't physically be together as a stronger club.
That's a very good point, Amanda. And, to quote our current president of our club, I think a very big part of our retention efforts over the next couple of years might be the need to focus on how we can provide community engagement and community service hands-on project for our membership. You remember saying that? Amanda?
I do. Of course I do. Yeah, that's what I was saying about making sure that we can identify what our community actually looks like. What does it look like for our club to be able to go out and get your hands dirty? Literally, not metaphor, but literally get your hands dirty. What does that look like for our club?
Well, and I think that is very key. I mean, we need to be able to show our current members activities that they can get involved with, like you say, get your hands dirty. But it's also a great recruiting tool to get new members to come join us in getting their hands dirty. A couple of things I would like to talk about, just so that we can get a better picture of our club. And this is the demographic information about the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians. We are 67% male, 33% female. None of us are unknown. I don't know quite sure what that means, but
You go.
all right, if you look at this slide right here, this to me is important.
I was sharing because you're not sharing anymore, Keith. Can you share your screen?
What, you're not?
I was sharing your slide deck, but I opened the wrong one. Can you share yours?
Oh, I'm not sure how I do that.
When we broke into groups, it ended your screen share.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I gotcha.
Let me see if I can.
While you all are trying to figure things out, this is Tom. I have a question. With
Yeah,
the
Tom.
motorcycles we ride, I think most everyone's got a trunk or carries a small flag, an American flag in particular, but most of us have 2 flagpole mounts. And for instance, I carry a Mother Road Route 66 flag beneath, to the left of, and under the American flag. But I also have I have Burgies for boating groups and my Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I'll fly those, the ones I'm permitted to fly, next to the American flag. Why don't we have a 12 by 18 Rotary International flag that we can put on the pole behind on our motorcycles? And every time we fill up for gas or we sit at a stoplight next to another motorcycling person, talk about Rotary and say, look, we're in the Rotary International Motorcycling Rotarians. Come join us, and hand them a sheet of paper, and everybody keeps riding, but at least they get the word.
I think that's an excellent idea. I didn't know that we weren't doing that.
And
You know,
it'll be
we-
an idea for swag.
We could even take our motorcycling Rotarian logo and turn that into a 12 by 18 flag and fly that on the motorcycle along with the American flag. And we'd have a real conversation topic for everybody.
Tom, we used to have in the old version of IFMR, we had a End Polio Now flag that was available to everybody. So you're spot on. And, it's just good advertising.
Well, that's another thought. You can rotate those flags. You could have a motorcycling Rotarian one. You could have End Polio Now, community service for District 6380, whatever. You could have 4 or 5 different flags.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, I can't get back to sharing the screen. It won't allow me. It says I can't share when somebody else is sharing.
I'm sharing now. Did you find your stuff? I had gotten to it, so I can quit sharing if you want to share your screen.
Okay, no, you're fine.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make a point on the next slide. To me, this is something that is a problem, a concern, should be a concern for all Rotarians and all Rotary clubs. If you'll look at this slide, we have 50% of our membership is age 50 to 70. And to me, that's not a good
problem.
I'm sorry?
That's a problem.
Well, I think it is. I think we need to be encouraging younger members. We need it's an aging organization. If we don't get more people involved in a younger age.
We should all start riding Ducatis.
I'm not sure that's
or Zero motorcycles.
Yeah. But I mean, it to me, it's something that I see in my brick and mortar club, as well as this slide shows in our club. The age Rotary used to be where you had to be the top of your profession to be invited to join Rotary. We have now gotten away from that, and we have plenty of the same classifications. We have a chance to get younger members involved, and I think we need to do that. I just think it's when you add the over 70, we're at 63% of our membership is 50 and older.
I think we'll have the same problem that regular clubs have sometimes. The younger members are busy with their family, with kids' sports, with a lot of different things that really eat up their time. And it becomes more difficult for someone in that category to give a lot of time to Rotary or any other organization other than those interests that are more family oriented.
That's a very good point, and yes, it is. I mean, you know, that when you're younger, when you're older, like people like Jerry and John Graham, I mean, you know, these old guys, it is, you do have a lot more time. You do have more time to devote to Rotary because you're not doing the day-to-day family things, the day-to-day activities that you've got. But that doesn't mean that we can't get these younger people included and get them active in what we're doing. We just have to push a little bit harder. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's nice too for us having the format that we have being online. It makes it a lot easier. It's you know, how many times have I shown up wearing my hair in a ponytail and probably just walked back from the gym, right? That's probably not going to fly at a noon club at a nice hotel somewhere.
No, you're right. It won't. I mean, I've been made up at clubs where it was very traditional, very old school, and you better have a coat and tie on. You can't even walk in with a sports shirt on.
It was interesting that my former regular noon club, hardly anybody wore a suit and tie anymore. If somebody had a jacket on, that became kind of unusual.
You know, whatever group that we decide that we want to go after, we have to be intentional about it, and we have to make sure that we create an environment that is attractive to that group. So, you know, if we're going to go after young professionals, then we have to decide inside of our club, what is it that's going to attract those young professionals, number one, to come to our club, and then number two, to stay. We had Kenton involved for a little while. Jerry, you remember Kenton? And he's just kind of disappeared. So it'd be interesting to reach back out to Kenton and find out why, you know, what happened, and, you know, what didn't keep him interested in our club, and what could we do differently to have kept him interested. But if we're going to target folks, whatever group we're going to target, it could be age, it could be ethnicity, whatever it's going to be, we have to be clearly intentional about it. And then we have to have a plan from A to Z to attract them and to engage them and then to retain them.
Exactly. Thank you, Chris. Exactly. Amanda, would you go to the next slide, please? This is just informational more than anything. It just shows the years of service of the members of our club. And as you can see, that the vast majority of our club members have had 1 to 5 years of service. To me, that's only important in that it shows that we have newer members that we are getting involved, and I think we need to push that more. But some of those were,
that's a very cool statistic. Wow.
That's
very positive.
Is that the active members, or does that include all of the associate members as well?
That's active, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think that was inclusive of everything when I spit it out.
Well, if you pull that off of the RI numbers and database, it would be just the active members.
I pulled it off of Club Runner.
Yeah, that's only
I
active.
don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna be the associates.
Yeah, because it seems like it would be higher.
Groups.
That's a big number. That's very unusual for a Rotary Club. That's a very big positive.
What I will say is the flip side of this, we see the same thing in industry, is the scary place for people to jump ship is 2 to 3 years, right? once you're involved for 2 to 3 years, the new wears off. And that's when we need to really be focusing up. So this year for our club, right? This is the scary year for us. It could be. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but this is really the year when we need to start looking at those people who've only been members of Rotary for less than 5 years and start actively reaching out to them. To Chris's point, what happened to Kenton? I can think of a couple other people as well. I could probably look at the list that Rory sent me and tell you the same people from that list.
But if it was from Club Runner, it would only be active members, like Jerry said, right?
Yes.
So
I can tell you in my case that the Club Runner is not accurate.
Well, I tried to inquiry Rotary International to get some additional information as a district and as a international figures to compare with these. I was unable to get a good response from them. So I don't have anything to compare this with, but I had not thought about that. I was thinking that this was our club, but I think Jerry's right. I think it would not show the associate members because we're considered honorary.
Yeah, Amanda can get to that data under My Rotary, and she can compare where our club is to Rotary.
I'll do that. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Again, even there, it's only going to be the active. It won't be the associates.
Yeah, and it's also
I mean,
only
we're unique, guys. We're unique throughout the world, and we just got to work through that. But this is a positive number, though. That blue space there, that's really positive.
It is.
And I think Amanda's point is well taken. That's also a concern, but that's a good time to be knowing that it's a concern too.
Well, and one of the reasons for the presentation tonight was to make sure that we're all aware that that's something that we all need to work on.
How would you guys feel about a mentorship program within the club where we actively assigned one of the senior members of the club to one of the newer Rotarians as as a check-in?
I would love to have a mentor.
I'll be your mentor, Jerry.
Was that an I'll be your Huckleberry? Is that what just happened there, Chris Jones?
Just kidding.
But seriously, it's not necessarily an age thing. It may end up being that way in some places, but I mean, some of the people who are in that if we look at everybody who's in that 1 to 5 year Pac-Man there and assign them somebody who's been a member for a good long time, maybe to do exactly what Chris and Keith were talking about, find out what would make it better for them, like truly dig into it.
Excellent. Good thought. Absolutely. Would you pop up the last slide, please? This is just, again, we couldn't put in Mexico City or Guatemala City, but this shows you where the North America members are located. And you can see we're fairly well spread out. There's clumps of people, but for the most part, we're pretty well covered east, west, Midwest, North. So I just wanted you to see this, just to add a little bit of idea of where our members are. And that
Midwest is a little light.
Well, it is. You're true. That is true. So we need to work on getting some of those Midwesterners in here. Dig them out of the snow.
The time difference creates a problem for some of it for coming to the meetings and such as well.
That is true. That is true. And I mean, when you have a member from London that's joining us and it's 1 a.m. his time, that gets a little bit difficult.
Well, and I'll pick on Scott because he couldn't make it tonight because he's at work, right? Scott lives in California. So that 3 hour time difference doesn't seem like a lot until it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So as we're
Yeah.
thinking about recruiting younger members who are still part of the workforce, or
Yeah, and it's
We
hard
just-
to, I mean, it's one thing to take a lunch break and go to a meeting, let alone to take a 4 o'clock, at the end of the day when you're trying to wrap the day up, take an hour meeting.
One good thing that you can tell everybody is that with these meetings being recorded, if it's inconvenient or they miss one, they can always go back and review it on the recording.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah,
And
they
that
need,
works.
they need to remember to mark it as, to get credit for the meeting too, because a lot
Yeah,
of.
well, and that's one of those things that's great for people who are established. But if
Because I don't think I did that. I did that a couple times and I'd forget to go in and mark
Well, you
it.
gotta let me know, Mickey. I'll put it in there. But
I
that's
know,
good
I
for
just-
people who are established. But what about newer members? If we're trying to recruit newer, younger members, we can't. That wouldn't establish that community feel that we're trying to really make sure that we have as part of the club.
How do
So-
we handle the reminders that go out on a weekly basis? Do we have a way to add members' email that's interested so they can be reminded of the meeting?
For prospective members, Rob?
Yeah, for prospective members, I think a lot of times they may show some interest, but they need that reminder that, hey, it's Wednesday night, there's a Rotary meeting. Do we have a list we could add prospective members?
Yeah, we could definitely be better about posting on social, on Facebook and Twitter. I think we do have an Instagram as well about reminding people about the meetings that are coming up. I'm not sure in Club Runner, looking at my purple group from the first slide. Does anybody know if there's a way in Club Runner to add people who aren't members? To add ad hoc, add someone to the distro?
You can have a group of you can have a group of things, just friends group or whatever. Okay.
Well, so we could be
and that could be
tracking-
a male group. Yes.
Yeah, Keith, we could definitely set up a group where there's prospective members where we can actually track it.
I think that's an excellent
Essentially a
idea.
leads group.
I think that's an excellent idea. Well, folks, I really appreciate this. This ends my presentation, but from the discussions we've had, suggestions made, I think we did what I was hoping to do, to get you thinking about how do we get new members involved and how do we get and make sure that we're keeping current members active and involved.
Good
Thank
job.
you, Keith. Definitely appreciate that. So obviously, guys, I mean, the takeaway from this isn't that we're gonna have a meeting and it's gonna just magically turn into membership, right? We need to come up with some actions. So let's keep the conversation going. I think next week during the happy hour meeting, I might throw everybody in a room for 5 minutes or so to talk about, some actionable things that we could do to increase membership and increase our current membership's satisfaction with the club. So just be prepared, but don't not come because I said that though. I'm really enjoying playing with the breakout rooms. That's really what it comes down to. But thank you again, Keith, and thank you to Ron Mead for both presenting tonight. I always appreciate having you here, and I appreciate your inputs. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It is 8 o'clock, so be mindful of everybody's time. We do have a board meeting following this, for real this time, not like last week when I forgot. If I can pick on Rob to please lead us in the four-way test.
The Rotary test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And number 5, let's make it fun.
Will it be fun? Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. Thank you guys all very much. I'm gonna
We have a
stop.
separate call-in number, right?
No, ma'am, we do not.